The courtroom buzzed with low murmurs as Sergeant David Cole stood alone at the defense table. His uniform was clean but old, the creases softened by years of service. Across from him, the judge, Harold Benton, leaned back in his chair, smirking slightly as he reviewed the file. "Mr. Cole," the judge said, his tone dripping with disbelief. "You're telling me you refused to pay a fine because, what, you thought the law didn't apply to soldiers?" David didn't flinch. "No, Your Honor. I thought it didn't apply to people doing what's right." Laughter rippled through the courtroom. Even the clerk chuckled. Benton slammed his gavel lightly. "Order, order," he said, still smiling. "Sergeant, this isn't boot camp. You don't get medals here. You get judgments." David simply nodded. "I understand, sir." But behind those calm eyes was a storm, one born from years of sacrifice, loss, and promises made on battlefields far from home. Outside, thunder rolled. Inside, the real storm was just beginning. Judge Benton leaned forward, tapping his pen against the desk. "You see, Sergeant Cole," he said, "in this courtroom, rank means nothing. You might have commanded soldiers, but here I give the orders." David stood tall, his posture unwavering. "Understood, Your Honor, but I'm not here to demand special treatment, only fairness." The judge chuckled, shaking his head. "Fairness? You parked in a restricted zone, disobeyed an officer's request, and refused to show your ID. Do you think your uniform makes you above the law?" "No, sir," David replied softly. "It reminds me to protect it." The crowd snickered again. Even the prosecutor rolled his eyes. Benton smirked. "You must think you're a hero." David didn't answer. He had heard that word too many times, often from people who had no idea what heroism cost. "Tell me," Sergeant Benton sneered, "how many rules did you break before they kicked you out of the Army?" The courtroom went still. David's jaw tightened, but he didn't respond. Instead, he reached for the chain around his neck, something small glinting beneath his collar. The judge's laughter faded when the Medal of Honor came into view, hanging silently against David's chest. The room fell into silence. For a long moment, no one spoke. The judge's smirk vanished. The medal's light caught in his glasses, its blue ribbon glowing faintly beneath the overhead lights. Is that real?" Benton asked, his voice trembling slightly. David met his eyes. "It was given to me after I carried 2 of my men out of an ambush in Kandahar. One of them didn't make it. His name was Thomas Benton." The judge froze. David continued quietly. "He was your nephew, wasn't he, sir?" The courtroom gasped. The judge's gavel slipped from his hand, clattering against the floor. For years, Benton had avoided talking about his nephew's death. He'd blamed the Army, blamed command, blamed everyone, but never once had he known the man who tried to save him. The veteran before him was that man. "I was the one who wrote the letter to your sister," David said, voice steady but heavy with emotion. I told her Thomas fought bravely. He called your name before we lost him." The judge's eyes filled with tears. His arrogance melted into grief. "I never knew," he whispered. "I blamed everyone but the one person who risked his life for him." David nodded once. "Sir, I didn't come here for pity, because no one, no matter their past, should be treated without respect." The courtroom was silent. Even the clerk looked away, ashamed of having laughed. Judge Benton stood, removing his glasses. For the first time in years, humility replaced authority. "Sergeant Cole," the judge said softly, "this court owes you an apology and a debt that can never be repaid." He paused, clearing his throat. "The charges are dismissed. And if you'll allow, we thank you for your service." David saluted quietly. "I didn't do it for thanks, sir. I did it for men like Thomas, and for the country we both still believe in." As he turned to leave, the courtroom rose to its feet. Even the prosecutor stood at attention. Outside, the rain had stopped. Sunlight broke through the clouds, lighting the courthouse steps. For the first time, Judge Benton didn't feel like a man above others. He felt human, humbled by a soldier who carried not just a medal, but a nation's heart.